Hello, my name is Navarro. I'm a student at MAST Homestead, and today I'm going to be talking about my healthcare photography project for HOSA. So, to begin with, I decided to look in through different technicians in different careers. And so I decided to get into contact with an optometric technician, a general technician, and an ophthalmologist technician. The reason I chose these different ones is because technicians tend not to be recognized a lot within the medical field. And quite honestly, they're almost invisible. And it's quite sad because when you start looking into the kind of work that they do, you start realizing that a lot of the stuff that we take for granted when going to a medical place, when thinking about what it is to be a doctor, is actually performed by the technician. And so I wanted my pictures to symbolize that. And so I decided to go off a little bit on the beaten path, and perhaps that is not exactly what the judges want, but it's still what I believed was probably best in terms of interpretation for these careers. So I decided to begin with the optometric technician. The optometric technician here is actually cleaning a slit lamp. And so these slit lamps are used for judging a person's vision and to be able to better understand their eyes and the way that they're seeing currently. So something important to note here is you can't actually see the subject. And so that goes back into my point on where these technicians are pretty much invisible and they can barely be seen within the modern medical career. It's quite tragic when you really think about it, but for that reason is that I decided to remove them because they are almost invisible except for the few things that they do touch. And in this case, it's a slit lamp and their sanitation of it. It's quite tragic because these technicians actually are the ones who perform the very basic parts of the medical visit. They are the ones who perform your chart. They're the ones who perform the first part of the visit. And then they are also the ones who prepare the equipment and sometimes even perform some of the diagnostic tests. Moving on, we see a general technician, and much the same as the first one. They're basically forgotten within the medical career. And that can be summed up as simply as how many of us truly even know that general technicians are even a career. And again, it's quite a tragic experience, and that is another reason why I did not include the subject within my picture. Here, the technician is cleaning the exam chair. And so this is a very general exam chair that can be used in many professions. In this case, this was an ENT location. And so the technician here is cleaning the chair between the patients, both as a COVID measure and just as a general safety measure that existed before COVID and the epidemic in general. And so here you see the almost mundaneness of it. The picture's boring, quite honestly. And anyone can see this. And that's the point. The point here is not to see, wow, what an amazing job this is. In reality, it's to see how boring it is. And it's not because the career is bad. That's not the point at all. In reality, the point is to show how mundane it is, how simple, how normal it is. And yet it is a crucial part of the medical career, and it's almost unimaginable, the entire medical industry without these technicians. And so they perform a lot of the same jobs as an optometric technician. A lot of these technicians perform pretty much similar jobs, and depends really on their ranking within their clinic. And so that moves me on to the ophthalmologist technician. And here they're cleaning a photometer. And so this photometer is actually a very interesting piece of equipment used to measure used to see into the eyes and to be able to get a good view within the eyes of the patient. And so it's actually interesting to see the amount of care that this technician is taking. And I think that's truly the real sad irony of it in a way, because you see this technician taking almost a sort of pride within her job, but at the same time, she's invisible. How many of us go to the doctors and just end up thinking, wow, what a great technician I had. What a great technician this clinic had. Most of us think, what a great doctor. Sometimes we think about their team, but Most times it's a doctor. And so that is, once again, why the subject is not the focus of the picture, but rather the action that the subject is taking, because only the results of the action of these technicians are the ones that are valued, not the technician themselves. So my photos work to highlight that, to highlight the discrepancy between the value of their job versus the actual job, the actual person performing the job themselves. Once again, their job description is pretty similar to the rest. Sometimes ophthalmologist technicians will perform other sorts of tests, other sorts of diagnostic tests to help out the doctor. And so they sometimes may have a little bit more of a leading role, although truly it's the doctor who has the leading role, but they may have more of a front charge kind of role, and they may be more active within the entire patient's visit in general. And so that is my HOSA presentation. Thank you very much for listening.